I built a real-time digital workspace where you can invite other team members to your workspace. You have all the markdown belows that you need, like H1, H2, bullet lists, numbered lists, to-do checkboxes, quotes, code, and images. You can create databases and view your data in different views, like table view, board view, and list view. Everything is real-time, so other members in your workspace will see the changes immediately. You can share any page publicly, so anyone can view this page without having to create an account. You can export any page to a PDF. You have version history, so you can always roll back to a previous version and much more stuff. And all of that was built with one prompt only. I gave Claude the prompt, I let it cook for a few hours, and when I came back, everything was ready. Okay, so here is the thing. AI models are getting stronger every day, but you still have this thing happen where you ask the model to build a website or an application, you give it a prompt, you let it do its thing, and when it's finally done, you get an app that doesn't look good, doesn't feel good, it's full of bugs, and you have to keep going back and forth with the model, ask it to fix this and do this and that. And it just, you know that something doesn't make sense. You know that the model is capable of delivering an app that looks good, that has pretty much no bugs, and that is almost ready to be shipped to production. But something here doesn't make sense. And then you start to blame the model and say that this model is not good enough or not powerful enough and isn't it. Well, 90% or 99% of the times, it's not an issue with the model, it's your prompt. And you've probably heard this before. Everyone is saying that writing a good prompt is everything. And it's true, writing a good prompt is very important, but it's not enough. You can write a very good prompt and you still won't get good results. The key is to write a good prompt and let the model test its own work. So if you are using Claude like me, and I'm pretty sure everyone is using Claude right now, you can make Claude open a browser, see the app that it had built, click on all the buttons, check the app on all the viewports, on mobile, on wide screens and all of that, and test all the functionalities and fix any bugs that it finds. And this is how you use AI to get an app that is 95% ready. It is not guaranteed that it will be 100% perfect, but it is at least 95% ready. The AI will test all the features. It will not report that something is complete unless it had actually tested this feature and confirmed that it's working as expected. And this is what we are going to do in this video. We are building a digital workspace similar to Notion. Now, Notion is a huge app. I'm not going to build every single feature, but I'm taking the main ones. Now, I have an empty folder with two files. The info file that contains the credentials for sending invitations via email and the database URL. And I also have the prompt, which is how we're going to make all of this happen. So if we take a look at the prompt, you can see it's a very detailed prompt with all the requirements and instructions. I'm not going to read all of that, it's going to take forever, but if you want to, it's going to be available for free in the description. So basically what we do is that first we say a brief description of what we are building and then the text tag. And for that, we will be using Bun for the backend. Now, if you don't know Bun, it is like Node.js, but much faster. So consider it a normal Node.js backend with WebSockets for real-time collaboration. We will be using PostgreSQL for the database. And for the front end, we will use React and Vite. For sending emails, I have already added the SMTP credentials in the info file. Our package manager is going to be Bun, as I said earlier. And for the libraries, it can install any packages that it needs for the drag and drop, rich text, converting to PDF, and all of that. And here we have all the requirements that I mentioned earlier, but each one is mentioned in more detail. And here we have the out of scope section, which are the things that we don't want built, like AI features, external connections like Gmail or Calendar or whatever, comments and mentions, templates, public editing or commenting, database relations, permission tiers, so we just have either a member or a non-member, password reset, file attachment, mobile app, and deploying. I don't want this deployed now, I just want to test locally first. And we don't want to redo or undo of another member's action. You can only do that for your own actions. For the design quality, it must use the front-end design skill, which I have already installed. Generous white space, clean typography, and all of that. Interactions must feel good. The slash commands, the drag and drop, and all of that. Everything must feel smooth. And here we have the most important section, which is self-testing. This is required before it can claim that something is done. It must test every requirement end-to-end and fix whatever issues that it finds. So it will open a browser using Playwright, which is a tool that I have installed. It will verify the core flows like sign up, login, logout, drag and drop, the block editor, real-time collaboration, duplicating a page, sending email invitations, search, adding to favorites, moving to trash. Basically, all the features in the app must be tested and verified. Only when everything passes, print the URLs and the owner login. And the owner login is mentioned up here in the requirements. So this is the email and this is the password. So this will be the first account that I can use to log in. So it will print everything and stop. Don't ask me any questions at any point, make reasonable decisions yourself. So you can see how big and detailed this prompt is. Writing such a prompt is gonna take forever and you probably won't be able to write such a detailed prompt yourself. So I have created as
one eternity later.
Okay, it's finally done. It took 2 hours and 19 minutes. And if we check the context, you can see it took 722,000 tokens. So here I have prepared a list of everything that I'm going to test so that I don't forget anything. So let's start with the first thing, which is the login. So remember that I give it this email and password so that I can log in. So, okay, the email is already pre-filled, so let's copy the password. Okay, that seems to work, and it does look like Notion, and it has these pages already created. So that's working. Sign up creates a working account, so I'm going to log out and create a new account. Okay, that's working with no issues. Session survives a page refresh, so if I reload the page here, I should be logged in. Okay, that's working. Owner invites a real email, so I'm going to invite someone else here. From here, let's invite. Okay, so I should get an invitation email, so I'm going to open this from a different browser so that I can have both accounts open at the same time. And you can see I just got the invitation email, so I'm going to accept this. And here we have like an onboarding page where I just need to add my name and a password. And you can see I'm able to join the same workspace. So if we take a look here, it is the same. It is the same Nadir 2 workspace. So I'm just going to leave this in here and I'll come back to it later. So that's working. Accept link. New user sets a name and password. So we have already done that. Reusing the same accept link should say already used. So if I come here and accept the same link again, okay, invitation problems, the invitation has already been used. Okay, that's working as expected. Okay, create, rename, and list a page. So if I come here, let's try to create a page. Okay, let's call it test page one. Let's create another page. Call it test page two. Let's nest this one inside this one. Okay. Let's rename this one. Okay, you can see the name reflects here. So all of that is working with no problems. Expand and collapse a branch. We've already done that. Nothing too crazy in here. Drag to reorder the siblings. So let's actually create a third page in here. If you call it test page 3, let's nest that in here. If I drag this, you can see I can nest multiple pages, but let's, if I drag this here, so 2 and then 3. If I drag this, it's 3 and then 2. So yeah, that's working. Drag to reorder a parent. So right here, test page 1 is the parent. So if I drag this out and then drag test page 1 inside of it, now test page 3 is the parent. So I can easily order the parents here. So that's working. Set a page emoji and a cover image. So if I open this page here, okay, it already has an emoji. Let's open this one, for example. You can see I can add an emoji from here. The only thing is that I don't have all the emojis. There are only these ones in here, but that's not a big issue. I can fix that. So let's add this one and let's try to add a cover image. So here I need to add an image URL. Seems I cannot upload an image, but again, I did not specify this in the prompt, so I'm not going to complain here. I'm going to find an image. Let's take, for example, this image. I'm going to copy the URL and I'm going to paste it in here. And you can see the image appears. So that is also working. Okay, insert all 13 block types, so paragraphs, H1, numbered list, and so on. So if we come, for example, okay, let's try in the same page here. I think if I press the slash, you can see we have all these blocks. So we have the normal text. This is normal text. Let's try heading one. So this should be big hit. Heading two should be smaller. And H3 should be the smallest head. We also have a bullet list. Bullet list, item one, bullet item two, and so on. So that's also working with no problems. We also have a numbered list, number two. So that's also working. Okay, so we also have to-do list. So to-do one, to-do two. Okay, we don't have any issues in here. Let's try the toggle. So I think in order to add something inside the toggle, I need to add something like a text, and then I can drag it in here. So you can see when I collapse, it disappears when I expand. Let's add something else in here. Let's add a heading. You can see I can collapse everything. Okay, so that's working. Let's also try quote. Okay, let's try call out. So this is like a highlighted text. Let's try a divider. Okay, let's try code. And here we have a few languages, but I think I need to write actual code for the style to take effect. I'm not actually gonna do that. Let's try image, and here I can upload an image. So let's try that. Okay, that's working. And finally, we have the database. So the database is basically you add some data and you can visualize it in different ways. So let's try, for example, to add a checkbox in here. Let's add the data. So first one to do. Okay. If I choose the board view, I can drag this in here in the in progress, and now we can see the status is updated to in progress. I can drag it here to done, and the status gets updated. I can view it in the list view, and each item is its own page. So if I click this, you can see let's take it. If I go back, you can see it's updated. I can open this. I can type anything I want here. So that is working with no problems. And you can see, so the database doesn't appear in the page itself. It appears as a nested page inside the main page. So I think all of that is working with no problems. To-do check strikes text. So I think when I check a to-do item, it gets striked like this. So that's working. Enter splits a block. So let's try, if I come to this item right here, if I press enter, it should be, yep, it becomes two items. I think if I press backspace, it should be one item again. Yep. So tab and shift tab should indent a list item. So if I come to this list item here, if I press tab, it should be nested. If I press shift tab, it should go back. So that's also working. The slash menu opens. Yeah, we've already tried the slash menu. Markdown shortcuts convert in place. So okay, so if I press hash and then I press space, it should be converted to a heading. Double hash should be smaller heading, and double bracket should be a to-do item. So that is working. Bold, italic, underline. So if I double click this, I can make it bold, italic, or underline, or from my keyboard. So if I press Control B, I can toggle the bold, Control U, and Control I. So that is working. Add a link. So if I add a normal text, if I double click and press the link icon, I can paste in any link in here. And it seems when I click the link, it doesn't open, but I think if I share this page, the link should work from there. So if I come down here and I click the link, you can see it's working. So I would say that this is working. All persist on reload. So let's try to reload the page. You can see everything stays persistent. Drag a block to reorder within a page. So I can drag this text up here. I can drag this heading down here. I can drag the image, I think. Yep. So that's working. Move a block to a different page. I'm not sure how this is going to work. So if I drag this image into this page, okay, it actually works. So that's nice. Let's try this big hit. Let's move it in here. Let's move it to another page. Okay, that is working. Create a database, add a property. We've done that. Add rows, edit cells. Let's come here. Let's add a few more rows. Let's edit this one. Let's delete this one. Let's add another one. Okay, so we don't have an issue in here. Table view edits a cell, switch to list view. The data should be intact. So if I edit, we've already done that. If I edit an item in the table view, if I switch to the list view, the data should be the same. If I change the status to done, go back to the list, the status is updated. If I reload the page, everything should stay the same. Yep, so that is also working. Board view groups by a selected property. So we already have that. In the board view, we can group by the status. Let's add a few more data in here. Another one also done. So I think by default, everything is grouped by status in the board view. So I would say that this is working. Rename, reorder, delete a property without losing rows. So in the table view, if I delete, for example, the checkbox in here, I shouldn't lose any data. So yeah, that's working. And it disappears from here as well. Open a row as a page, properties on top, editable blocks. So we have done that. I can open this page. We have the properties as the top in here, and I can do anything I want here. Block edit in A appears in B within 1 second. So here I'm going to open the second account. So I'm going to have both open side by side. So I have both accounts open here side by side from 2 different browsers. This is the account that I got invited in the beginning of the video, and this is the main account. So if I make any change in here, it should appear here within 1 second. Yep. Okay, that's working. Page create or move in A appears in B. So if I create a new page in here, it should appear. Yep, so it appears. Let's rename this. Okay, that's working. Create slash move. Let's move this page inside the getting started page. You can see. So that's working. Database row change in A appears in B. So if I open the database in here, if I change this item, okay, that is not working actually. Let's change this one. Okay, let's change the status. Okay, so the status doesn't change, but the name doesn't, for example, for some reason. Let's reload this page. Okay, it seems I have to reload for this to work. Let's try to rename it here. Yeah, it seems we have an issue with the name. It doesn't change in real time for both accounts. Let's actually open this item in its own page. Let's try to rename it. Okay, so when I open it in its own page, the change does take effect immediately, but for some reason in the table view, let's add the text here. Okay, the text is working. So the only thing that is not working is the name. When I change something, it doesn't appear in the other account. So I'm gonna give this a fail. Third window. I'm not going to open a third account. It's going to be the same. Each member viewing a page shows to the others. So you can see at the top here, I have both accounts showing at the top. A and B edit the same block. Both should convert to one state. So let's open this item here. Let's add a few items here, and you can see we have a slight issue. Like when I do lots of changes, you can see it's a bit unstable, but it's not a big deal. Remember, this is it's not going to be perfect. As I said, it's going to take you 95% of the way, but you're going to have slight issues which can be easily fixed with another prompt. But let's add a few items in here. Let's add a bullet list. Here, let's add a numbered list. But again, at the end, both converge to the final state, so that is working. Verify with a hard reload. Okay, let's reload here and here. And we have the final state with no problems. A local action renders instantly before the server confirms. So if I press the plus icon here, you can see the page gets added immediately before the backend request is done. So I can add as many pages in here. So this is what's called optimistic behavior, which is we don't have to wait for the backend to respond. So that's working. A rejected or failed action rolls back with an error. So let's actually shut down the backend in here. So this is the backend. I'm going to shut it down. Okay, you can see it says you're offline immediately. Let's try to rename this. You can see we're getting toast errors in here, so that is working. Till the backend visible offline indicator appears, that is also working. Restart the backend, the client should reconnect automatically without reloading. So I'm going to restart the backend. And you can see it got reconnected automatically. But I think my changes did not get saved. But it's yeah, it's not a big deal. Control K should allow me to search a page. Let's try that. Let's search. Okay, that is working. Although it's a bit unstable, I think it. Yeah, not the best search experience, but again, this can be easily fixed. So I'll give this a pass. start a page, it should be pinned to the favorites. So if I come here, if I add it to the favorites, it shows at the top in here. If I remove it, it disappears. So that is working. Delete a page with a sub page, both go to trash. So if I delete this page, has a sub page. If I delete this, okay, both are in the trash. I think I can restore them. Yep. And we have all the data persistent. Restore item from the trash, that is working. Publish a page. We have already tried to publish a page. I think I can open it in an incognito browser. So it should open without having to create a new account or anything. And the link is working. So that is working. Open a link in a fresh incognito window, that is working. The public page exposes no private data. I don't think it is exposing any private data. Let's try again. I don't see any private data in here, so yeah, so that is working with no problems. Unpublish the link, it should return a clear not shared. So let's unpublish the link and let's open it again in an incognito browser. Should say, yep, this page is not available, so that's working. Export a page to a PDF. So let's try to export. Okay, we don't need this account anymore. I'm going to open this in full screen. Let's export this to a PDF. Okay, let's open that. Okay, that is, I can open the link. Yep. And we have everything in here with, with no problems. So that's working. Edit across snapshots, open version history, restore to an aerial version. So here we have the version history. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few changes here, and then I'm going to select a version history before I make these changes. So let's open the version history again. Okay, so this is the final version with the changes that I just made. If I go back to this one, you can see it doesn't have these changes. If I restore this version, it gets restored without the changes that I just made. So that is also working. Duplicate a page. So let's try to duplicate this page. Okay, page duplicated, and it also gets duplicated with the database inside of it and all the data. So that is working. Edit the duplicate page does not change the original. So if I edit this one, it should not affect the original one. And if I edit the original one, it should not affect the duplicated one. Make several edits. Control or Command Z should revert my own changes. So we have already tried that. If I make a few changes here, you can see, as I said, it's a bit unstable, but at the end, everything gets saved. So if I press Control Z, I can undo everything. So I'll give this a pass. Undo only your actions. So if I open the second account here, and if we open the same page, so if I come here and in this account, I'm going to open the same page. So if I make a change here from this account, so let's say this is account A change, and here this is account B change. So if I press Control Z in this account, it should only remove this line here that I did. So let's try that. You can see it only removed this this change, and in this account, if I press Control Z, it should only remove this line. So yeah, that's working. And restart the backend, everything should be intact. We have already tried that. I restarted the backend and everything is the same. We didn't have any issues, so that's working. Seed as a produced owner, press a rich starter workspace. I think this is duplicated because we already have this as a top in here, and yeah, it is working with no problem. So that's a pass. An empty new page, an empty database render gracefully. Yeah, we don't have any problem. Let's open this empty page. Let's add a new database. So yeah, that is working. So I'll give this a pass, and yeah, you can see from all the testing we did, only this one is not working. And we also have an issue when doing so many changes at the same time, or not at the same time, like if I do lots of changes like this, you can see, yeah, that needs to be fixed as well. But again, Remember that all of this was done with one prompt, and it only took like 2 hours. I honestly expected that it would take more. So this shows how writing a good prompt would save you so much time. Like you only need to write a second prompt to fix this issue in here, and this stability issue, and you would have an app that is basically ready for production. So I'm going to leave this in the description. So you're going to have the prompt, and I'm also going to leave the prompt enhancer skill. You can see it has some references here to resources from Anthropic and other resources, so it knows how to write a good prompt. And basically this will take your idea, it's going to ask you a few questions, and it's going to give you a detailed prompt. Or if you already have a prompt, it's going to modify it if it needs to. If your prompt is already good, it's not going to do anything. In order to use this, you basically copy this folder into your project, and then you ask Claude to use the prompt enhancer skill. And yeah, you just let it do all the heavy work for you. So all of this is going to be available for free in the description, so feel free to give it a try, and I'll see you in the next video.